Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Spooktober episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. Who's here with me?
It's Michelle. Oh no, the yawn is coming. Oh no.
Oh, it's Michelle. It's always Michelle.
It's always Michelle.
And it's
Not always this sleepy.
Michelle's yawning because it's 12:06 a.m. on July 31st, which is, I guess, technically it's Tuesday, is what we're looking at right now. But we're recording early for Spooktober. We've been doing Halloween-themed movies this entire month, alternating between some real horror gems and also just some fun family-style Halloween movies. We're going to talk about, look, guys, I don't know. I assume that Michelle put up a schedule at the beginning of the month, even though we're recording this beforehand, because that's the kind of thing she does.
I currently have not, but I will.
We're going to talk about Spaced Invaders. We're going to talk about Ernest Scared Stupid. We got so many fun movies coming up. Today is the spoopy horror movie though. Like adults, like gory, violent, not for kids. And it's an anthology movie. What movie is it, Michelle?
Tales of Halloween.
Tales of Halloween.
Yeah.
What year was this movie from?
2015.
Man, we're really coming with the energy here on this this episode. We just got done recording a 90-minute Michelle in review for July 2024. And it's warm. I made the stupid mistake of turning the air conditioner off before we started recording, and I was
Spoiler
dumb.
alert, I think this would be my energy going into this one no matter what.
Oh, interesting. So,
yeah.
Quick aside, by the way, if this is your first time tuning in, hi, thanks for joining us. It's called We Watch Shudder because that's the main focus of our podcast. We watch stuff that Shudder puts out, originals and exclusives. We watch a bunch of other stuff, too. That's what we're doing. Michelle, do you have a descripy script of Tales of Halloween? It just occurs to me that we never even bothered to sort that out before we hit the record button.
I'm on it.
Thank
I already
God
have
you're
the
on
IMDb one
I could
taken
not do this without you.
Well, that's because it would just be you. And I think you would talk yourself into a panic attack every episode because you'd be like, why did I start it that way? Why did I say it that way? Oh, no one's here to reassure me that it's okay. And then you would just panic. That's why we both have co-hosts.
I understand why you would have that position, Michelle, but if it was just me, that would definitely not happen because I would just not even be doing it.
Okay, well, see? You're right.
You
do need me then.
I do.
Okay, IMDb.
I don't think you understand, Michelle. I literally would not do this if I didn't have somebody to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I would just sit here and talk to myself.
I am not going to do a masturbatory podcast. No, this is no solo effort here. That's probably not the metaphor I want to be using it. You're a married lady. Your husband's a friend of mine.
Oh, no.
That was really... Wow.
Let's
get off this this topic immediately and talk more about Tales of Halloween. What's the descripy script?
The descripy script. 10 stories are woven together by their shared theme of Halloween night in an American suburb where ghouls, imps, aliens, and axe murderers appear for one night only to terrorize unsuspecting residents. Tales of Halloween 2015, rated R, hour 37 minutes.
Yes, anthology horror Tales of Halloween, 10 stories. Michelle.
Yeah.
You, as a general rule, are a little bit more on the anthology train than I am. You want to tell us your spoiler-free thoughts on this particular anthology horror film?
Yes, absolutely. As a whole, didn't really enjoy it. There are some shorter stories that I like. So this one's one of those where it's going to be hard to rate because as a whole, there's too many tales of Halloween. I didn't feel like I got into any of the stories. It's okay to have like some shorter ones interwoven, but I feel like all of these just seemed kind of rushed. There were some that probably would have been fine as the runtime that they were. But that having so many short stories, one right after another, was kind of exhausting. There were some in particular that I really enjoyed. There were others that I didn't enjoy so much. I do know why this is a very popular anthology. There's a lot of, like horror movie fans can see a lot of their favorites. I particularly got very excited to see Lin Shaye. Lots of tropes that we're used to, that kind of thing. So it does cater to a specific audience that I should be a part of because I usually like anthology. This one, I don't know, it didn't sit with me. This was either my second or my third attempt to watch it. And I know for a fact the first time I only made it a couple and went, I'm not feeling this. But there are some really good ones. I think the pacing for me is what's really off. There's a lot of comedy here, but then when it does throw in actual horror, it feels weird. So as a whole, not judging the individual stories themselves, I'm gonna go with let's go with a 2 for me, a 2 out of 5.
2 skulls out of 5 for the anthology Tales of Halloween from my co-host Michelle. Michelle, I could not agree with you more. The fatal flaw in this movie is the 10 short stories of it all. A lesson that was very much driven home to us when I was in broadcasting school, when we were talking about programming for radio, is 6 30-second commercials will always feel so much longer than 3 1-minute commercials because there are 6 of them. It's changing more. It psychologically it has that effect. This movie is 92 minutes. When you take off the end credits and the particularly long opening montage because there are 10 shorts that it's introducing in that opening, this is 80 minutes and 10 stories. They're 8 minutes each, and it feels like it's 2 hours long. And that, to me, there's so much of it. And, I think each individual part is interesting. I think there are good special effects here. There is some really tasty gore that I really appreciated. But there's just too many parts here. I'm reminded of a thing that I hear a lot on a lot of these cooking competition shows that I watch. Where a lot of cooks try to I'm going to take the surprise ingredient and I'm going to try to do multiple things with it. And it's yeah, if that goes well for you, it works great. But for every additional element you put on there, you run the risk of it not being what a person wants. And it feels like this is a movie that wanted to have a little bit of something for everybody, so much to the degree that I would have rathered this be just 10 short stories on a website that I could watch each one individually at my leisure. Cramming them
Agreed.
together as an anthology, the 10 shorts of it all, it's just too much. I agree. 2 skulls. I don't even honestly know what all I'm going to have to say about it in a spoiler section because that pretty much sums up my overall thought. Also, it's been 2 weeks now, I think, since I watched this movie, so I don't even know how much of it I remember, but there are bits. There are parts I remember, yeah.
Oddly enough, so watch this one and then watch the Etheria Film Festival from 2024, which is 9 short films in an hour and 50 minutes. You and I really believe that you should stick to an hour and 90 minutes unless it's really, really justified.
An hour and 90 minutes? Good Lord.
An hour and 30 minutes or 90 minutes. My bad. Yeah, 2.5 hours, all movies, please. But you and I really think it has to have a justified runtime. This almost sticks to that at an hour and 37 minutes. But it has more short stories than the one that I watched that was longer, and the pacing just feels weird. And I think it kind of clicked while I was watching the Etheria Film Festival because that had one that was 3 minutes and then one that was 15 minutes. So it changed up the runtime. And I think all of these are probably pretty similar in length. And it just felt okay, well, that one's done. Let's get to the next one. There's no in between. They just go into one another so quickly, and it's weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, it just it like I said, it felt so much longer than it actually is. and I watched it, and I found myself dozing off a little bit, not because it just felt like too many things. I definitely had my favorites of the different shorts, and there are some that didn't quite work for me. So maybe that's what we want to talk about now. If you don't want any spoilers, guys, this is where you're going to want to... Yeah, okay, we're getting a weird delay here, but we're going to work our way through it. We're going to keep on keeping on and seeing what we can figure out. I think we finally got it all sorted out, guys. We're having all sorts of fun technical difficulties because the internet is stupid. I think the internet is even just tired of the heat and humidity right now and doesn't want to fucking try any more than we probably do. I'm kidding. We really want to try, guys, and we're trying. We're talking about Tales of Halloween. We're trying to talk about Tales of Halloween. The internet's getting in the goddamn way. Michelle, you probably better take over for a minute, and I'll get something to drink.
Okay, that is totally fine. I know that we are both grumpy. This is a very grumpy episode. More so than I think any other episode we've ever done before. Sometimes we don't like...
And it's not the movie's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, even like if we don't like a movie, we have like a good time. Right now, this is like, we got to get through this fucking thing despite the internet. Despite the government trying to turn our internet off so we can't talk about Tales of Halloween. I know what's going on.
Guys, I don't... summer in Fargo, North Dakota / Moorhead, Minnesota is a goddamn nightmare. It's hot, and it's also swamp-ass humid, and I've been in a shit mood for about 3.5 days because the air conditioning at my workplace is broken, and the air conditioning in my car is broken. Oh, let's get this over with. Can we please, Michelle? Spoilers. Tales of Halloween. Please, you talk.
Spoilers. Do you want me to just sum up the 10 tales of Halloween? I can do that.
Yeah, go through it one by one, and I'll see if I have any thoughts or memories about any of them. Have I mentioned it's been 2 weeks since I originally watched this movie, and we're finally getting to record it? Anyway, here we go.
I
remember Sweet Tooth was first.
Absolutely. This feels like a cursed episode. Like, you can't say Macbeth in a theater. We're never going to be able to say Tales of Halloween on an episode again because it took us 2 weeks to figure out when we could record this goddamn thing. Everything went wrong, and now the internet's cutting out. We're too warm. We're grumpy. I'm getting a little hangry. This is our downfall.
I do want to take a moment to point out, just because you did mention it, that I have been in one theatrical production in my entire adult life. I did it just a couple of years ago at a place here in the Fargo-Moorhead area called Theater B. And I said Macbeth 3 times in the theater during the production of that production, so that Macbeth thing is nonsense.
That explains why the lead actress died 2 weeks later of mysterious circumstances.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
Nobody from that production has died.
Yet. But when they do, we can blame it on the Macbeth thing. Someday.
Whatever.
Lady.
Anyway, the Scottish play, that's the one. You know,
yeah.
There's that whole thing in Hamilton where he's like, oh, I trust you'll understand the reference to another Scottish tragedy without my having to name the play. And then he immediately names the play in the next line.
Apparently, you can say Hamilton.
Apparently you can say Macbeth if you're talking about the character Macbeth, but you can't say Macbeth if you're talking about the play Macbeth.
Well, it's during the production of Macbeth.
So
you haven't been in a production of... Okay, anyway.
So this is definitely the cursed episode. Holy shit.
I'm wide awake at 12:30. I definitely don't have medication that was already making me sleepy and not...
I'm high as balls. Here's how much of my medicine I've had this evening. I just earlier, while we were getting ready to record this episode, made myself a sandwich. And it was a peanut butter and bologna and cheese whiz sandwich. And I know that sounds awful. Yeah, I know that sounds awful to you. Don't you dare yuck my yum. It's fucking delicious.
I believe you that it's good.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I'm saying I will not try it. Those textures.
Peanut butter is 2 pieces of bread, peanut butter on one, cheese whiz on the other, slice of bologna in between them. It's fucking delicious.
I don't like bologna, so I think that's my biggest problem.
Salty and proteiny and just fucking artificial.
I'm also
God
on
damn
medicine, but mine's anti-nausea. So yours is way more enjoyable. Okay, so the
Lead
first
us
one,
through
Sweet
the tales
Tooth.
of Halloween.
Yeah, so Sweet Tooth is about a little boy, and he's being babysat, and the babysitter is telling him a tale of Sweet Tooth. And Sweet Tooth, his parents were kind of dicks, and they ate all his candy, so then he ate his parents to get to the candy inside. And now you always have to leave candy out for Sweet Tooth. But guess what? They didn't fucking do it. And so then they get eaten by Sweet Tooth. And then the little boys stand there like, oh no, they had candy. They were piñatas, Mom. Mom, they were piñatas.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, I'm pretty sure, was my favorite of all 10 of them. And it's there's nothing they could have done to predict that, but I think a lot of people, like, man, it really didn't work in this movie's favor that ultimately the one that ended up being my favorite of all 10 was the very first one. So much my favorite, Michelle, that, I mean, far be it from me, but I have to correct you on a couple of things. First of all, he didn't eat his parents. He butchered his parents' guts open so he could get to the candy that they had already eaten and eat that candy in addition to the other candy he had eaten. Also,
yeah, but
they
part
didn't
of his parents are now on that candy now.
Right.
There's no way he got that completely parent.
Right, but his purpose wasn't specifically to eat his parents.
Okay, fair.
The eating of his parents was incidental. Also, they didn't just take his Halloween candy. They, for years and years, dressed him up in a costume and made him go out trick-or-treating to collect all that candy for themselves. Like, this is even more insidious than you made it out to be. I thought the gore in this was fantastic. I thought both of the little kids who just butcher the shit out of these people had just frankly, a little terrifying glint of glee in their eyes. Those kids, those child actors' parents should be real careful. But I really, really, really liked this one right out of the gate.
It was one of my least favorites, so that's strange.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know why.
I think that's why it was so hard to watch it multiple times.
I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of it for me is there's something about somebody's guts not just being like cut, but like splayed open. Some of the special effects in this, the way the corpses are laid out and the specific designs of the gore, I really enjoyed. I also really enjoyed just that idea of like, oh, he's like, he ate all the candy. Not all the candy. There was more. And for a moment, I was like, oh, he went on a killing rampage to take other. And then I was like, oh, no. He gutted his dead parents like a fish and ate their half-digested kid. That's fucked up. Like, it passes by so quickly in the 8 minutes of this thing that it's like, that is fucking demented. And I loved it.
I like it as a tale. I thought the telling was kind of cheesy for me, but that's fine. I won't yuck your yum.
What was next?
The night Billy raised hell. This is when Billy goes to play a trick on the old guy whose name I don't remember. It's been too long. This is the problem. We need to record way earlier, and we tried, you guys. It's our Macbeth. To quote a different movie, this is our 9/11. Another movie that neither of us like at all. It's not. JD knows what I'm referring to. So Billy, he goes to play a prank, and he's gonna ding dong ditch, but then the guy takes him inside and he's like, let me show you what the tricks of Halloween really are all about. And then he takes this little boy and they go and they raise hell, and they're like shitting on people. I don't remember what they're doing, but they're doing bad stuff. I think they murder someone, several someone's, and then they get back to the house and it turns out it wasn't the little boy. It was this old man's goblin friend. And then he's like, okay, well now here's the real trick. And he sends Billy back outside dressed in the costume the guy was just wearing. And then, Billy gets shot by the police and dies.
Yeah, the cops blast. What the fuck, man?
I did like that. I did enjoy that quite a bit.
That's another one I liked, yeah.
Yeah. Also, it had Adrian Curry. Adrian Curry of America's Next Top Model fame. Oh my God.
You lost me completely. Okay, moving on.
Adrian Curry. He specifically says, "Oh my God, aren't you Adrian Curry?"
Michelle, I said moving on.
Okay. Well, Adrian Curry.
Wait, in this movie they say, "Hey, aren't you Adrian Curry?"
Yeah.
Oh,
she plays herself. She's one of the cameos.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's like
my
waiting by a phone booth or
apologies to
something.
Adrian Curry, whoever that is.
America's Next Top Model.
Okay.
Other things too, but America's Next Top Model. Okay, so the third one is named Trick. And thank God I wrote down notes because that would give me no indication of what story this was in a movie about Halloween. My note says psychopaths murder kids. And this is a bunch of people sitting around and all of a sudden kids start showing up to trick or treat, but never mind, they're showing up to murder. And the kids start murdering the adults and you're like, oh my God, this is awful. What's happening? No, it's because these adults have been fucking stealing kids, torturing them, murdering them. And now the kids are back to take revenge. And I like this one. I like a good revenge tale, a good murdery revenge tale. Sounds
again, like this is, I feel like we're just going to get to a point where it's like, I didn't even really dislike this one. I was just ready for the movie to be done. But
that's only
there's
3 into them.
I know we got 7 more to go and I'm already like it's like I said,
it's an endurance test.
There's not any one of them that I outright like thought was really unpalatable, but there's just so damn many of them.
There's so many.
Even I don't want to eat 18 peaches, you know?
I do. I'll eat 18.
In one sitting? No, you don't.
Watch me. I'll do it. How much you gonna give me? $5? I'll do it for $5. I have insurance.
I'm not
when
gonna
I
say that.
Go to the hospital.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep talking about this movie.
Absolutely. The Weak and the Wicked.
Goddamn train wreck. Oh my God.
It is. If this is your first episode, turn it off. Go to a different
sorry.
one.
I'm so sorry.
We are so sorry.
Yeah,
we might have to edit this one a little bit because it's they're gonna hate us. So The Weak and the Wicked. This one's cool because it has Noah from Blood Relatives in it. Just another of those cameos that I caught, and that was pretty fun. So he they're a bunch of bullies, and there's this guy, and he shows up, and he's trying to tell them about the demon of All Hallows Eve, and that he will spill the blood of the wicked where the wicked have harmed the weak. And then the bully guys, they're like, well, we're going to chase you down and kick your ass or kill you. I'm not positive. And then there's a whole thing about there was a fire. His parents were inside and they died, and the bullies recognize him. But then the demon shows up, and it turns out that Jimmy was able to summon him previously with that piece of paper that he used. This is also one of my least favorites.
Yeah, I don't remember it super clearly. Like here's what I remember about it. I feel really kind of gross because the only thing I remember about it is I thought that actress was really attractive.
Yeah, that sounds on point.
And that's wow.
It does.
Here I am.
You have a type.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to be honest about the fact that I'm embarrassed that that's the only thing that I remember. But whatever.
Oh,
God.
Fair. It's okay.
Thanks for making me feel like shit, Michelle. I really appreciate it.
No, it's all good. I'm just saying you have a type. Right. The real horror is what's going on this episode. Grim Grinning Ghost. This was kind of the Blood Mary-esque one. Lynn Shay at the beginning, another cameo. I appreciate the cameos. I like.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that each of these are important names for writers and directors too.
I especially appreciate a Lynn Shay cameo. That lady has been in so many things. Also, her husband, Robert Shay, is the New Line Cinema guy and the entire reason we have A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's why it's now New Line is the house that Freddy built. They took a chance on that movie, and the rest, as they say, is history. I am melting into this chair both from my medication and the lack of air conditioning. We should finish up talking about this movie as quickly as possible. What's happening with this episode? What's happening with this episode is exactly what happens with this movie. It just goes on and on and on. And I realize that at this point it's entirely my fault. but holy shit, Michelle, maybe
Grim
I should
Grinning
just
Ghost.
stop.
No, we should all just stop. Just stop living, go into the void, accept the darkness, sleep forever.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds so nice. I'm
Yes.
convincing myself. Okay, Grim Grinning Ghost.
Yep.
Lynn Shay, she tells the spooky story of Mary Bailey, who was ugly, and so people made fun of her. I can relate to that a whole bunch. And you're not supposed to turn around and look at her. And then the girl walks home, and she is very specific about not turning around because she thinks Mary's behind her. And then she gets home, and she does turn around. There's nothing there, so she feels relief. But then Mary's sitting beside her. Oh, shit. Grim Grinning
Oh
Ghost.
no!
Ghost.
The real thing was don't turn around twice. God damn
The
it,
real
Lynn
ghosts
Shay.
were the friends we made along the way. Oh,
Yes.
God. Okay.
Don't turn
Ding dong.
around twice. Ding dong.
Ding dong. This one's done by Lucky McGee. And this was a married
That's
couple.
McKee.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Lucky
everything.
McGee is a great name, though. Lucky McGee. That's gonna be my new name
Oh,
forever.
God.
Lucky McGee.
So there's a couple, and it's an abusive relationship. Let's just get that out of the way. It's
Yep.
really not good. This guy Jack, he has to dress as who was he dressing in the Hansel and Gretel set? Because are they Hansel and Gretel? I don't remember, but I know it's the Hansel and
think
Gretel
so.
story. Okay,
Yeah, I think
so
so. I'm not
I know
sure.
the dog is Gretel, but I think she was the witch and he was Hansel. Anyway,
Yes.
who cares? Hansel and Gretel. Let me tell you about that story instead. It's a way better story.
I think she was
I'm
the
kidding.
witch and he was Gretel
Yeah.
and the dog was Hansel.
Oh my god. That's so much
Yeah.
effort. Okay, so it's an abusive situation, and the trick-or-treaters are showing up, and they're doing this whole acting routine every time they do. The woman is grieving because she had a miscarriage, and then at the end, it turns out that he tells her he had a vasectomy because he doesn't think that she should be a parent because she's a shitty person. And then she throws him into the cave and then melts. The cave meaning the oven. Sorry. The oven like Hansel. I really enjoy this one. I know I'm like summing it up so quickly, but I like this. I think it's a good metaphor. I thought it was legitimately very horrific and good.
Yeah, real creepy. You get a grown man dressed up like a little girl, and I'm like, that's always gonna be like give you a shuddery vibes. You know, I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. What you do in the privacy of your own home is your own business, whatever it is. But I don't want to see that shit. It's creepy. Grown men in a little girl outfit.
Any adult as a little child does make me go, why would you want to
Yep.
be 5 again? That was a terrible time. I
Yeah.
remember when I was 5.
Like if Raggedy Ann has a mustache, I don't know. That makes me very uncomfortable.
I don't know. That kind of does something for me. Okay, next.
Oh Lord.
This means Raggedy Ann with a mustache, very stylish. This
Okay,
means
no.
war.
Let me put it to you this way. Imagine Tom Selleck in a Raggedy Ann costume. That's creepy as fuck, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of into it.
Oh God, what have I done? Anyway, please continue.
This means war. How am I getting more energy as this endurance test goes on? So this is these two neighbors, and the one guy, he's had the classic Halloween decorations for all of his life, and now his
Dana
new neighbors.
Gould.
Yeah, that guy. His new neighbors, they have the spooky decorations, and he's like, "Mom, I'm going to the HOA about this," and they're like, "Fuck off, old man." And so they have a whole little battle, and they both die somehow at the end.
Yeah, I actually, I really enjoyed this one, not just because Dana Gould is in it and he's awesome, but I just this was very living cartoonish, right? Where just like the back and forth, like, no, mine's cooler, why are you being a dick? No, why are you being a dick? Just builds and builds and builds, and then they both die. Like they end up in like they mutually murder each other. So I don't even remember that. I know somebody gets impaled. I remember that.
I love a good mutual murder.
Yeah, but this is, look, we get a little silly here sometimes, but this is a good way. Like this, we're now what 6 entries?
That was the 7th.
That
the
was the
7th.
7th, and like I feel like it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I feel like if this wasn't the 7th one I had just sat through, I would have been able to enjoy it more. It just there
I
was
love
just
short
so
films.
much.
These are just so fast.
Yeah, there's
I
so much to
didn't get into it.
digest here. Just all rapid
Like Sweet Tooth.
fire. It was yeah. And it just became ultimately too much. We still got 3 more to go. What are they?
Yeah, 3 more. Next, Friday the 31st. Jason Voorhees is trying to kill a person, and he does kill her, and then an alien comes down from a UFO, and then he says trick or treat, and so he kills the alien. Then the alien comes back, and then now the alien possessed the body of the girl and goes after him. I don't remember specifics of this one, but it was probably my favorite, and I do want to watch it again.
Yeah,
I
this
really
was
enjoy this
super fun. It's like, if memory, it was like Jason Voorhees, and I think she was like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and
Yep,
he's chasing her through the woods, and he kills her, and then he doesn't just like kill the alien, like he squishes the alien into just a puddle of goo, and then it's like a claymation sort of like crawls inside the dead lady's fate. Like, this is really well done. And yeah, this was one of my favorite entries in the film as well.
I think there was just something really great about the alien being very cute and very innocent, and then getting smushed, and then being like, "Well, fuck you, then." That just like really, it's
silly.
really nice. Yeah, exactly. And then we got the ransom of Rusty Rex. My notes say
I didn't care for this one.
Child abduction gone wrong. They go to kidnap a child, and then the kid is wearing a Halloween costume because that's how it works. And they call the dad to be like, "Hey, we've got your son," and he's like, "Ha ha ha, fuckers, you don't know what you did," and hangs up. And he's like, "No, he's yours now." And then it turns out the son is a goblin, and the goblin he's got to eat. And so he's like, "Make sure that he's fed, or else he's just gonna eat stuff." And then he winds up eating the one guy. It goes as expected.
Yeah.
Rusty Rex.
Yeah, that one, just, I don't know, nothing against it. It just wasn't my favorite. It's, you put 10 different flavors in front of me. Some of them are going to misfire. Sorry.
And then the last one, which I have mixed feelings about. So this is Bad Seed. Basically a pumpkin attacks. Pumpkins are attacking, but they do this really cool thing where they do try to tie in all the previous stories that we've seen with like talking about like the radio dispatchers are talking about things and like, oh my God, the town's lost its mind. Like this whole thing's going on. And at the end, it ends with the warehouse full of pumpkins that could potentially, be all murderous pumpkins. And I think that all was done very cleverly, but I was just over it by this point.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that ties it together. There's nothing to indicate that we're going to have a tie-in at the end. There's no in-between sequence.
Oh, no, actually, I think there are multiple small moments where there are character crossovers from one of the shorts into the other. Like, I'm pretty sure the kids who murder the child murderers in that one episode also just turn up as random trick-or-treaters in one of the other episodes.
You're correct.
I think there are little crossover moments like that that kind of at least are like, oh, that's cute. They must have produced a lot of these kind of right at the same time and used a lot of the same people. And then, I thought it was really effective the way they brought everything together without having a specific sort of frame story. I thought at least the effort was laudable, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The effort was laudable. Because it is something that I think if it had been not so much of a surprise that now oh, I see. Because because this is a short, by the time I figure out oh, this is in the same town, this is summing it all up, then it's basically over. By that point, we're a couple minutes into it, which is halfway into it. And then it's not the point of it. The point is the pumpkins. So it's this cutesy thing that I wish had been a little bit stronger. Just
absolutely.
I wish I had the strength to continue.
And very much as you said, I was just so ready to be done. I looked at the timer and I was like, really, only 92 minutes? Wow, it feels... So, and the unfortunate thing about that is, again, like I said, I don't even know, like I have my favorites, but there's nothing in here that I actively disliked for any reason. And I feel like they all got a little bit of short shrift by being in such a huge collection. Like, I feel like I probably would have responded to every one of these better than I did if they hadn't all been jammed together like this.
Yeah. I have been to multiple short film festivals, including 2-minute film festivals. Mm-hmm. And obviously that is a lot of content. And seeing it in that way, it's better received at a festival and having like just these really quick things. But even that is an endurance test in the specific format that this is developed for. So doing it at home, just, I don't know. And it's weird because, like I said, I just watched the Theory of Film Festival for 2024, which had 9 of them for longer, but felt so much snippier. And I think part of it is the pacing because they're all similar lengths. And all similar kind of vibe. All comedy, horror, mostly. There's a few that aren't, but it's just a lot.
I was going to say Chicago Horror Film Festival earlier this year, they played, I want to say, about a dozen features, but that's predominantly a short film festival. They played over 200 short films, and if you go back and look at the schedules, like, they went out of their way to deliberately, at the very least, vary the length of the films. You know, you get like a 5-minute thing and then like a 12-minute thing, and then there might be like a 23-minute thing. They were constantly varying that because I believe you're right. Like, if I just sit down and watch, just especially in a short form, like if it's 3 half-hour blocks, that's a different thing. But you give me 10 5-minute shorts in a row, I'm probably not going to care by the time we're done, you know, and that's what happened here. I don't know how many other ways I could. I probably don't need to say it any more ways. We probably don't really need to say much of anything else at all, but here it is, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're still saying it.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep.
Should we just call it a night?
I just want to give a sincere apology to our listeners.
Yeah, guys, this is a cursed episode. We're not going to go back and re-record it. It's just going to be what it is because I don't want to tempt any fates. I promise you the next one is going to be a lot better because it's a movie I'm genuinely sort of excited to talk about because it's a movie I really enjoy. But should we try to record that one still tonight, Michelle?
God, no. I can't bring this energy into a Coco episode.
We're talking about Coco.
Yeah, we have plenty of time. This might be one of the few that gets edited. We'll just cut out like 10 minutes.
I feel like I frankly, in maybe sort of an avant-garde podcast sort of mentality, I feel like this episode is in many ways a reflection of the experience of the film. It's just, it's so detached. There's just so much of nonsense.
Just go back and add a disclaimer.
I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, guys. Let's stop before we get to a half an hour. Have you said everything you need to say?
We're past half an hour. This is our second time recording because we had so many audio issues.
Oh, Christ. God, yeah. What have we done, Michelle? Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle, and goodbye, and go sweet into that dark nothingness and sleep forever.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShudder.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShudder on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShudder.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShudder.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media.